everyone, and welcome. You are watching Eagle News America. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ace Ramirez, coming to you from Washington, D.C. Today is October 7, 2020. Tonight, we have updates from several of our correspondents in North America. Thomas Likeness in Edmonton, Alberta.
It's time for people to take COVID-19 more seriously.
I'm Ellen Ramos in Washington, D.C.
Positive updates on the health of President Trump and hearings for Supreme Court nominee Judge Amy Coney Barrett set to begin.
Mayanne Manzano Guerzon in Sicklerville, New Jersey.
Crowded picnic areas in New Jersey municipal parks ordered to close.
Milos Imbulan in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvanians are encouraged by health department to get flu vaccine amidst the pandemic.
Fendel Faheran in Seattle, Washington.
Showing agility to fight COVID-19 elevates confidence in safe state updates.
Rani Bayuga in Perrysburg, Ohio.
Ohio Governor DeWine details lessons from Trump, First Lady's illness, and Ohio starts early voting.
Marianne Borja in North Hills, California.
Los Angeles Zoo launches drive-in movie nights 2020.
Don Omar Cuevas in Little Rock, Arkansas, reports on COVID-19 cases rising in Arkansas. And Governor Asa Hutchinson gives tribute to a slain Pine Bluff police detective. Plus, business news with Bobby Soriano. And for EBC Sports, Zarita May Sese reports about LeBron and the Lakers, just one win away from the NBA title. For tonight's group talk, today is National Walk to School Day, and we will ask our team why there is a need for walkable communities. Our coverage begins now. First, an overview of the COVID-19 situation. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of noon today, Eastern Time, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 35,900,000. Top 3 countries with reported cases: US with 7.5 million, India with 6.7 million, and Brazil with 4.9 million. The virus has now claimed more than 1,051,000 lives worldwide. Top 3 countries with reported COVID-19 related deaths: US, more than 211,000. Brazil, more than 147,000. India, more than 104,000. A second wave of COVID-19 in Canada has health officials doubling their efforts to appeal to the public's cooperation and sense of responsibility. Joining us this evening is Alberta Bureau Chief Thomas I. Likeness. Tom?
Thank you, Ace. Smarten up, people. You know, maybe that's the message public health officials should be giving to Canadians. You see, we're at the beginning of a second wave of COVID-19 that has not even come close to cresting. That is, if the country's population keeps going the way it has. Get this, the average daily case rate for the past 2 weeks, more than 2,000. That's 2,000 new cases a day. A 40% increase from a week earlier. 10 times, that's right, 10 times what it was just a couple of months ago back in July. What happened? I thought the curve had been flattened. And you know, my province, Alberta, is one of the big offenders. An average of more than 200 cases a day being reported here in Alberta. More than half of those in my city, the city of Edmonton. What's gone wrong? You know, those numbers have caught the attention of our Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Dina Hinshaw, and she's singling out a particular group of people.
One alarming trend we have seen in our review of current active cases is about 11% of cases are attending work or still going to social gatherings when symptomatic while awaiting test results. This is a significant risk and is one of the factors causing our case numbers to rise. I want to be clear, if you are sick, you need to stay home. If you are sick, you should not go to social gatherings of any kind. This includes the upcoming Thanksgiving weekend.
Now, as I mentioned, my city has more than half the active cases right now, and don't be surprised if restrictions are tightened. The provincial government a couple of hours ago announced that it will make some recommendations for voluntary restrictions, but these are voluntary, not mandated. So how effective are they going to be? The details will be announced tomorrow, but it could include things like reducing the cohort numbers presently at 15, or the number of people allowed to attend indoor and outdoor events. Other measures, including encouraging more people to work from home and restricting non-essential travel. But again, these measures will be voluntary. You see, there's no appetite among provincial lawmakers to impose new restrictions. The economy was struggling before the pandemic, and COVID-19 has only made it worse. Premier Jason Kenney says he doesn't want to increase the economic suffering by bringing in any new restrictions, which brings us back to my opening statement. Smarten up, people. The population as a whole has to take responsibility for controlling the spread of the infection, and things like going to work or socializing when you have minor symptoms, just not acceptable anymore. You know, despite what some people say, this virus is not like a minor case of the flu. It's deadly, and it spreads like a California wildfire. Dr. Hinshaw gets the last word in this report.
COVID in Alberta, if we do not all take these basic steps. I continue to ask employers to do whatever they can to support their staff in staying home while sick. This is an important juncture. If together we cannot control the spread, we may be forced to consider additional, more restrictive measures.
Can't get any plainer than that. Smarten up, people. In the meantime, I wish you all good health. Remember to take care of others. Take care of yourselves. Stay home. Stay safe and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic and other current affairs. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
Tom, before we let you go and enjoy your Canadian Thanksgiving this week, what other suggestions are you and Thanksgiving?
Basically, what they're recommending, Ace, is to avoid family gatherings with any outside of your cohort group. So, I mean, if you're your immediate family, that's fine. You live in the same house. But don't be inviting aunts and uncles and grandma and grandpa. Just stay within your cohort. And you know, we always have these buffet-style dinners. They're kind of a tradition with Thanksgiving. Not this year. Not this year, because these also contribute to the spread of the disease with the common utensils and so on. And actually bring your own food. Bring your own food. Don't hug people outside of your cohort. Sharing utensils, glasses, cups, definitely a no. Better yet, why not just celebrate virtually? You see, the increase that we see right now goes back to what we were doing on Labor Day, that long weekend, and of course the following week. We don't want to see that increase even more 3 or 4 weeks from now after the Thanksgiving weekend.
So would you agree that opening the establishments, is that pretty early?
That certainly has contributed to some of it. People have just become a lot more cavalier about socializing. They're not keeping their distance, and I know people long for social interaction, but we still have to keep our distance. And it's particularly prevalent among young people. But the problem is they can spread it to old guys like me.
But that's the thing. It's a dilemma. It's much like which came first, the chicken or the egg? Are we going for bringing back the economy or prioritizing health? What do you think?
Well, I think we have to prioritize health, because what good is a good economy if we're all sick or dead? I mean, that's the bottom line. Despite what some say, this disease is deadly, and yeah, more so with older people. But you know, we had somebody in their 20s die just a couple of weeks ago of COVID, so it can affect anybody. No, nobody's exempt. COVID doesn't discriminate. It's an equal opportunity infection.
I agree. I agree. If it's a choice between health and economy, we would, of course, prioritize health. What good is the economy if there are no people to work for it? You know.
The thing is the economy has been reopened and it started out quite successfully. What people have to do now is if you got the sniffles or a sore throat, stay home. In the old days, yeah, you'd go to work because you know you're a dedicated employee. You can't do that anymore. If you want to be a dedicated employee, stay home so you don't infect the office. And this is part of what Dr. Hinshaw was saying. The alarming trend is when they do the contact tracing, people got it at work or they got it at a social event because somebody showed up that shouldn't have showed up.
I agree. Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you, Ace, and you take care. Stay healthy.
When we come back, updates from our correspondents in Washington, D.C., Sicklerville, New Jersey, and Swarthmore, Pennsylvania. Eagle News America will return after this break. Stay with us.
It says the best defense is still containment.
We are in uncharted territory.
Final volume 450. If I want to 100%. Construction eh.
Gustong-gusto ko yung fake news. Bakit di nila makukuha yung tamang sagot?
Bawal ang fake news. Bawal mali-mali.
Tonto ako sa fake news, hindi nila makuha yung tamang sagot.
Team Papawi! Hip-hop queen!
Ang gusto ko yung PN's the key.
Kasi nakaka-relate din ako dyan. Yung misis ko madalas umorder eh.
Ang red ba? Ang confirmed or cancel?
Gusto rin namin magbigay ng pag-asa sa ating kapwa, lalo na sa panahon ngayon.
Ang gusto ko dyan, ayudawan, nakatulong na, nakakatawa pa.
Driver Grab, nag-deliver, driver Grab.
Ang gusto ko po dyan yung ayudawan kasi marami pong natutulungan na tao.
Salamat po. Maraming salamat po unang-una po sa ama.
Maraming salamat po. Ikwento ko po ito sa aking mga anak.
Gusto ko sa appetite, maalis tayo. Tonto kay KitKat.
Iyan o.
Iyan o.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Ace Ramirez in Washington, D.C. We have several stories tonight from our Washington, D.C. correspondent, Imelin Ramos. She'll update us on President Donald Trump's health and on the hearings for Supreme Court nominee Judge Amy Coney Barrett that are set to begin. Imelin?
Thank you, Ace. Presidential physician Dr. Sean P. Conley sent out a positive memorandum updating the health of President Trump earlier today. The president's physical exam, vital signs, oxygen saturation, and respiratory rate all remain stable and in normal range. Dr. Conley continues to say that President Trump has been fever-free for more than 4 days and has been symptom-free for over 24 hours. He also clarified that the president has not needed nor received any supplemental oxygen since being hospitalized. Dr. Conley also mentioned in his memorandum that the president said this morning, quote, "I feel great. We are all glad that the president is doing well, and we here at ABC News continue to hope for a complete and successful recovery." In addition to President Trump testing positive for COVID-19, we should not forget that there is still a Supreme Court vacancy. And with what has happened in the last few days, many are wondering what is the latest with the nomination. Some were left wondering if it would be postponed or delayed. As we know, the president nominated Judge Amy Coney Barrett to serve as an Associate Justice on the Supreme Court of the United States. Based on Judiciary Committee of the U.S. Senate, they said that Chairman Lindsey Graham met with Judge Barrett, and the Republican majority of the Judiciary Committee released a statement on October 3 with the headline that there will be no change to the nomination hearing. The statement says, quote, "The Senate Judiciary Committee will proceed with the consideration of the nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to be an Associate Justice on the Supreme Court of the United States on October 12, 2020. If you look on their website at judiciary.senate.gov, you will see that on the calendar, there are hearings to take place from October 12 to October 14 at the Hart Senate Office building beginning at 9 o'clock a.m. Although there have been 3 Republican senators who have tested positive for coronavirus, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell continues to push forward with the nomination. On the Senate floor on Monday, he made several remarks regarding the nomination. He said, quote, "We are full steam ahead with the fair, thorough, and timely confirmation process that Judge Barrett, the court, and the nation deserve." He also mentioned in his remarks that since they and other branches of the government were still able to conduct business during the pandemic using various forms of technology, the U.S. Senate could continue to do the same, which includes the nomination process of Judge Barrett. He said, quote, "Across all our committees, we've had 150 hybrid hearings since the pandemic began. The Senate has used this format no fewer than 150 times. We have continued performing our constitutional duties while protecting health and safety during the pandemic. So it's clear with all that is happening, the nomination process will move forward. How they will conduct the hearings on October 12th, whether it be all in person, remote, or a hybrid, still remains to be seen. But we will keep you updated. In Washington, D.C., I'm Malin Bandac Ramos. Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
I believe with the Republicans pushing forward with the nomination, what is the Democrats' response to the scheduled hearings?
Yes, Ace. Well, the Democrats voiced their objections to the scheduled hearings. From the Judiciary Committee on the Senate, Democratic Senators Dianne Feinstein and Chuck Schumer released a statement last Friday objecting to the hearings that have been scheduled. And from the website democrats.senate.gov, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer released his own statement regarding the hearings. Well, I'll read a portion of it. He states, quote, "The Republican leadership has truly lost touch with reality if it's contemplating marching COVID-stricken members to the Senate to rush through a Supreme Court nominee who could strip health care from 20 million Americans. Instead of engaging in continuously more absurd and dangerous behavior, Chairman Graham should halt this already illegitimate nomination process, and if he refuses, he must put in place a thorough testing procedure that is in accordance to CDC best practices before hearings can take place." So as you've heard, the Democrats are not happy with the scheduled hearings. But since the Republicans have the majority, it would probably be very difficult for the Democrats to delay or postpone the scheduled hearings. Ace?
Well, Ultimately, the Senate will have the final say on whether or not to confirm the nomination of Judge Barrett.
Yes.
What is the Americans' perception of Judge Barrett according to the polls?
Oh, well, it's interesting, Ace. There have been some polls taken, and particularly a CNN poll conducted by SSRS. The polls show that Americans are divided on Judge Barrett. The polls show that 46% do not want the Senate to confirm her nomination, while 42% said they want the Senate to confirm her. So, with so many other issues also dividing the nation, it will be interesting to see how the hearings will affect the November elections. We'll just have to wait and see. Ace.
Thank you so much, Heimelin.
Thank you.
Avoiding virus super spreaders or infected individuals aggressively spreading the coronavirus in crowded places, New Jersey orders several picnic areas to close. In Sicklerville, Eagle News correspondent May Ann Manzano-Garzon has the details.
Thank you, Ace. In a report released by NJ.com, Freehold Township is closing some parts of its municipal parks due to reports of overcrowding and non-observance of social distancing amid the pandemic. On the township's Facebook page is a post saying that Freehold received many complaints due to the matter, and in response, they are temporarily closing the pavilions and picnic table areas in the parks. There are 14 municipal parks in Freehold Township. Freehold is in Monmouth County, which had 91 of the 651 coronavirus cases in New Jersey reported on Tuesday, the second highest of the state's 21 counties. The township has not offered a date for lifting the park restrictions and said on its Facebook post that they are urging everyone to enjoy the park safely and to take advantage of the many locations Freehold Township has to offer. It also said that officials are aware of the challenges presented this week and will work to keep our parks as safe and enjoyable as possible. Meanwhile, here is today's statistical report of New Jersey's COVID-19 cases. According to the Department of Health of New Jersey, we have 514 new positive cases, bringing a statewide total of 209,800 New Jerseyans tested positive. Sadly, we have 4 new deaths, pushing the total to 14,364 lives lost. New Jersey remains on stage 2 of its road to recovery. And for some weather update, Ace, it's currently 10:04 in the evening here in New Jersey, and it's mostly clear. It is 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius. In Sicklerville, New Jersey, May and Manzano-Garzon, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
Mayan, aside from the Freehold Township, are there other cities in New Jersey facing the same situation and had to close their public parks?
Unfortunately, Ace, yes, Howell Township, which borders Freehold Township, ordered their municipal parks to be closed as well on Tuesday, citing the rising number of cases and sadly, Ace, also non-compliance of safety measures such as social distancing and non-wearing of face coverings. Ace?
Thank you so much, Mayan. Flu season is here, and Pennsylvania's Department of Health couldn't be more ardent in encouraging Pennsylvanians to get the flu vaccine amid the COVID-19 pandemic. In Swarthmore, Bureau Chief Myla Simbulan joins us this evening. Myla.
Thanks, Ace. Leaves are turning yellow and orange here in Pennsylvania, which means fall is definitely here. And fall season means flu season. That's why the Pennsylvania Health Department is urging Pennsylvania residents to get their flu vaccine as the COVID-19 pandemic continues. Here's Sarah Boateng to tell us more. Take a look.
Flu season leaves a lot of unknowns. One thing we do know is that the flu vaccine works and protects you from becoming sick. Flu vaccines are already available for the 2020-2021 flu season, which officially started September 27th. Getting a flu vaccine is the best way to protect yourself from the flu. And it is safe to go to your doctor's office, pharmacy, local walk-in clinic, or grocery store to get your flu vaccine.
This year, both the flu shot and nasal spray are available and recommended for everyone 6 months of age and older to protect against the flu. The flu vaccine can often diminish the severity of symptoms and the duration of symptoms a person might experience should they come down with the flu. Seasonal influenza, commonly known as the flu, is a contagious respiratory illness caused by the influenza virus. It attacks the nose, throat, and lungs and may include the following symptoms: fever, headache, tiredness, dry cough, sore throat, nasal congestion, and body aches. Similarly, COVID-19 symptoms include fever, cough, shortness of breath, diarrhea, chills, repeated shaking with chills, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, and new loss of taste or smell. Now that we know what the symptoms are, can you get both flu and COVID-19? Here's Dr. Cindy Whitener to answer our question.
Influenza. It is possible for people to get influenza and COVID-19 at the same time, but so far there's not a lot known about these co-infections. And if co-infection will increase the severity of either disease. There is not an effective vaccine for COVID-19 yet, but there is an effective vaccine for influenza. So getting the flu shot, as was said, not only protects you, but it protects your loved ones, your friends, and your coworkers.
Co-infection, that sounds scary. Since symptoms of the flu and COVID-19 may be similar, it may be hard to tell the difference between them based on symptoms alone, and testing may be needed to help confirm a diagnosis. The best way to prevent respiratory illness at this time is to get the flu vaccine. It takes about 2 weeks for the antibodies from the vaccine to develop protection against infection. This small but powerful action will protect your family, friends, and frontline healthcare workers who will be caring for sick people with respiratory illness this fall and winter. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Myla Simbulan, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
Myla, talking about the flu vaccine, have you had your flu shots this year?
Ace, not yet. I'm planning to, because I usually get flu shot. I usually get it every year, but I usually get it at work where it's really convenient. But this time, since I'm working from home, I have to find a pharmacy or something similar to get flu shot. Ace?
That's right. That's a lot more consideration as compared to before when we were working from the office, huh? Thank you so much, Myla.
Thank you, Ace.
Reports from Seattle, Washington, Parisburg, Ohio, and North Hills, California. That's next. We will return shortly. Stay with us. This is Eagle News, America.
Last Sunday ay umulan ng field sa ating TNT stage as On-Cue Dance Company secured the victory. Ngayon, we continue the search para sa karapat-dapat na umangkin ng 2 million peso grand prize at ng titulo bilang Tagisan ng Galing's Grand Champion. Abangan sa Tagisan ng Galing Part 2 Dance Edition!
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Di man kita makita muli, isang pikit ng umiilaw na
Ito po si Gian Magdangal. Abangan niyo po ako sa Himig ng Lahi ngayong linggo alas 8 ng gabi. Dito lang sa Net 25.
Makulay na bahaghari.
Walang bumalik mesti na konti dun sa pera ko sa karinderiya. Puro utang, wala tayong kwarta.
Hindi mo naman yung mga yun. Siyempre marami silang nawalan ng trabaho. Di ba dapat maawa tayo sa kanila?
Naawa din ako sa kanila, pero wala mang kwarta, wala puro utang. Aniya si Rosas Pandan, gikan pang taon sa kabuki. Kaninyo makiguban-uban, ninggi sa ulog na galingawan. Balita dahil mauwi puhunan, mauwi gibilin sa akong ginikanan. Awit pa ang maparahan, mauwi garbo sa kabukiran. Ay, nananapot si Mami, nagtanaw sa kwarta, nagtabisay ang laway. Sa wapay kwarta, siyempre magtabisay ang laway, nagtanaw ng inday.
Kwarta.
Kwarta, wala lagi kwarta. Nagtabisay ang laway.
Tayong lahat saya-saya.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News America. I am Ace Ramirez in Washington, D.C. Bureau Chief Rendel Fejeran joins us this evening for the answers.
Thank you, Ace. At a news conference earlier this year, Governor Inslee says we need to seize our own destiny. Now it is time for us to turn to our manufacturing community for the equipment we need in this fight, in this war. Now, taken straight from the governor's website, manufacturers and other businesses here in Washington has proven their agility in supporting Governor Jay Inslee's call to help fight COVID-19. Companies have managed to lock arms in finding ways to shift the focus of their production lines from the products of their core businesses to personal protective equipment and others, such as surgical masks, swab tests, saline solution, vials, N95 masks, gloves, surgical gowns, and face shields. The businesses definitely did not do this on their own. Impact Washington and the Department of Commerce worked alongside one another to provide guidance and assistance to over 60 manufacturers and businesses, from fabrication to getting the proper certification and the insight on how to navigate the state procurement and testing process, which is all necessary to validate the quality and usability of the PPE. To name a few of the companies that responded to the state's need to combat COVID-19 are distillers. Now, during the early days of the pandemic, when hand sanitizers were hard to come by, almost 40 Washington state distillers purchased new equipment and modified their operations. Hand sanitizers have become, like many places, have become a hot commodity here in our state, that some of the businesses are keeping the hand sanitizers as one of their products. Aerospace and medical industries like the Tacoma-based Global Tech Plastics and Tool Gauge are also companies who answered the call of Governor Inslee. Until this day, both of the companies maintain essential certifications to fabricate specific types of medical equipment. Manufacturing products come with many, many components. You have to figure out what kind of template to use, the instructions, and etc. Now, Impact Washington brought the companies together with Design That Matters, which is a Redmond nonprofit known to focus on medical devices for global health. Now, Design That Matters brought together over 40 other experts that were able to develop a free package of design files, instructions for use, labeling, packaging, and quality systems with manufacturer-friendly instructions. Flow International Corporation, a developer and manufacturer of ultra-high pressure water jet cutting system, is also a company that heed the call of Governor Inslee. They redefined their operations to be part of the solution. To date, they have managed to produce 200,000 medical-grade face shields for our state. An incredible asset to the COVID-19 response is the Association of Washington Businesses. They have launched a virtual marketplace known as PPE Connect. This marketplace was designed to help all Washington business access manufacturers producing PPE. Businesses could order PPE in the quantities they need. Most importantly, PPE Connect provides a resource that could help businesses safely operate in new normal. The resource is access to easy-to-use, downloadable templates and tools for everything from in-store signage to social media and communication tools to help them serve customers and their employees throughout the Safe Start reopening. These are efforts that weigh in heavily to the slow spread of COVID-19. Because of the continuous masterminds with businesses on how to operate safely, in Governor Inslee's press conference just the other day, he states, instead of tightening restrictions, we can roll some more back to allow safer operation of these activities. Here in Washington, we know the threat of COVID is real and we take it seriously. So though there is a pause to the Safe Start reopening plan in which all 39 counties are to stay in their current phase, the governor approves more activity in some of the phases and is effective immediately. To name a few of those updates, I'm just going to bullet note them. Libraries are in action now. Youth adult sports, movie theaters, restaurants, wedding receptions. You can have attendees to 50 now in phase 3. Retail events, which can expand the miscellaneous venues guidance to allow outdoor retail event shows in phase 3, capping attendance to 200 people. Real estate, we can now allow for open houses, outdoor recreation, water recreation facilities. For details and updates, Washingtonians can visit coronavirus.wa.gov. When the community pulls together with agility, from companies to families to individuals, the confidence to move forward is evident. Goals are met, all leading us to a safe, full reopening. For Washington, Brendel Feheran, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
And good to hear all positive news about Washington. So let's stick to that tone. Okay, so tell us more about the Seattle Storm. What's this about?
I'm so glad that you asked, Ace. So Seattle Storm is our basketball team, obviously here in Seattle, and they have won a total of 4 championships. And their last game that led them to the 4th championship was played against LA Lakers, Los Angeles Sparks, rather, not LA Lakers, my bad. This is women's national NBA. But they won against the Los Angeles Sparks. The 4 championships, they've won their first one in 2004, 2010, 2018, and this year, 2020. And because Breanna Stewart had led the team to the 4th championship, she was actually named the MVP in the WNBA finals, which is amazing. And I wanted to share this fun fact about the Seattle Storm, a little bit more about their story. They play an active role in promoting literacy, health and fitness. They support for women and girls and youth basketball in local communities. So they're so hands-on with the community and they have such big hearts and they deserve this championship, Ace.
Thank you so much, Brenda, for that great news. That's something to look forward to, Seattle Storm. I'm not a big fan of WNBA, but it sounds like it's something to watch.
Yes,
thanks, Brenda.
Thank you.
Anyone is vulnerable. This is what Ohio Governor Mike DeWine underscored in his press conference addressing President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump's illness. In Parisburg, Randy Bayuga joins us tonight.
Thank you, Ace. Governor Mike DeWine shared with us 5 points to consider regarding the President Trump and First Lady's illness. Number 1, even the leader of our great country can get the virus. It can happen to anyone, and no one is immune. Number 2, testing can be and is very important. Must be used together with social distancing and mask. Number 3, masks do matter. Number 4, distance matter. And number 5, contact tracing matters. He further advises Ohioans, as he states, each of us can demonstrate our love and our respect to our fellow Ohioans by wearing a mask. by avoiding large gatherings of people, by frequently washing our hands, and by keeping at least 6-foot distance from others. This will keep our kids in schools and allow to keep our economy to continue to move forward. The governor also tweeted today about the increasing hospitalizations due to COVID-19. Since July, the average hospitalizations was dropping, but is now on the rise again. And approximately 70% are Ohioans 60 years old and older. Thus, the Governor DeWine also advises us, as we said earlier, in August and September, spread among the young and healthy will eventually impact those who are older and more vulnerable, which is why it is so very important that younger Ohioans do all they can to prevent the spread. Because of all these increasing in hospitalizations, we also see these statistics show up in our COVID-19 key indicators. As of now, there are 161,299 confirmed cases of COVID-19, and there are 4,947 deaths. There are currently 15,972 hospitalizations. Its 21-day trend has increased sharply, along with the ICU admissions, which is now at 3,367, which is also rising sharply. In addition to that, the number of counties in public emergency level 3 has increased from 6 previously up to 10. So public emergency level 3 are counties who are experiencing high levels of exposure and spread of COVID-19 virus. On other news, Ohio starts its early voting. Early voting started Tuesday, October 5th, 2020. Early voting is 29 days prior to Election Day in Ohio. Please check with your local counties to find the location and voting times. Expect long lines at the polls as hundreds have started to vote and submit their ballots. The state of Ohio has recruited 46,000 poll workers and may see it increase to 55,000 come November 3, as stated by Secretary of State Frank LaRose. He also declared that in an interview earlier this week that Ohio voters will accept state's election results as legitimate. In Perrysburg, Ohio, the Wood County Courthouse is open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and from October 6th to October 16th, till 6 p.m. from October 19th to October 23, and till 7 p.m. from October 26th to October 30th, Monday to Friday. And it will also be open on Saturdays, October 24, 31, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Sundays, October 25th, November 1st, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., and also November 2nd, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Perrysburg, Ohio, Eagle News. I'm Ronnie Bayuga. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
Randy, can you share with us what has Ohio done to ensure security of the votes?
Well, Ace, that's a really good question. And there's been a lot of questions about the mail-in ballots and electronic voting. But Ohio is actually one of the leaders in the nation in security for all these voting applications. So mail-in ballots, there's a question about getting an ID. You have to have a valid ID. And there are other options for the valid IDs. In order for you to get a ballot, you must present one of these valid identifications. And then also, once you do put in your mail-in ballot, you can check on a website and validate that your vote was actually counted correctly. So there are many things that Ohio has done. And actually, since before the 2016 presidential election, Ohio already started to lead actually not just the nation but the world in securing their ballots. That's what I have. Back to you, Ace.
Thank you so much for the reassurance, Rani. Who says going to the movies is a thing of the past? With safety guidelines in place, the Los Angeles Zoo brings the theater experience outdoors, launching its Drive-In Movie Nights 2020. In North Hills, Mary Ann Borja has the details.
Thank you, Ace. Los Angeles Zoo launches Drive-In Movie Nights 2020. With the current physical distancing mandates in many counties and cities throughout California, some of the small luxuries in life, such as going to the movies, spending free time at the mall, or dining at a restaurant, were put on hold. With physical distancing requirements and safe at-home mandates, many businesses in California have become creative with their operations in order to provide services to customers and remain afloat. The Los Angeles Zoo recently announces their LA Zoo Drive-In Movie Nights 2020. This is their first ever drive-in movie series that will provide themed movie events, a free show presentation with the zoo's biggest animal stars, and mobile ordering options for their attendees. This event is perfect for a family outing, offering physically distancing, safe, and yet fun experience for all ages. This week, the weekend-themed events consist of Weekend 1, which has animal adventures from October 16 to 18, with Dr. Dolittle, Zootopia, and Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Weekend 2 comes up with a lineup of the brilliant Betty White from October 23rd to October 25th, with The Proposal, The Lorax, and Lake Placid. And Weekend 3 comes in October 29 to November 1st. With Clue, The Addams Family, and much more. Prices for these events vary, starting at $40 per vehicle up to 2 guests and $55 per vehicle for 3 or more guests. Capacity for these events are limited and expected to sell out quickly, so tickets can be purchased online at www.lazoo.org/movies. In North Hills, California, Mary Ann Borja, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
Mary Ann, the idea of drive-in movies is very enticing. You know, when we talk about movies, right away we think about popcorn. Movies and popcorn, they go together. With this pandemic situation, will concession stands be available for the attendees of the drive-in movies?
Yes, Ace, there will be concession stands. Due to the pandemic, with the required physical distancing and facial coverings, attendees will need to order all concessions through their cell phones, as no one will be allowed to order at the concession stands. In addition, a maximum of 2 people per vehicle will be allowed to pick up their mobile food order at the stands, and all concessions must be ordered by 9 p.m. So the entire family can still enjoy the movie in their vehicles while eating popcorn and hot dogs. Ace.
Thank you for the good news. When we come back, updates from business news with Bobby Soriano and sports with Zarita May Saysay. In America, Eagle News America will return in a moment.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Open for Business, from vision to action.
Bawat sandali ng ating buhay, ingatan at gamitin ng mahusay.
Isa ka sa pinakamagaling na singer sa buong Pilipinas.
Tumaas ulit ng note without even breathing. So doon ako sabi ko, wow.
Kung kami po ang makakalaban nyo sa singing contest, eh laglag kami lagi.
Nagulat ako sa iyo, grabe ka.
Ang unang pepwesto sa bagong set ng monthly elimination ay walang iba kundi si...
Let's see!
This is Eagle News America. I'm Ace Ramirez, coming to you from Washington, D.C. The number of COVID-19 hospitalizations is at an all-time high in Arkansas as coronavirus cases rise. Plus, Governor Asa Hutchinson orders for Arkansas and U.S. flags to be flown at HAT staff in honor of a police officer killed in the line of duty. In Little Rock, Eagle News correspondent Don Omar Cuevas has these stories.
Thank you for having me, and hello from Little Rock. COVID-19 cases in Arkansas have shot past 84,000, with around 75,000 recoveries and over 1,300 deaths. The number of cases keeps rising, and this is bringing much concern to Governor Asa Hutchinson. He has stated that the number of hospitalized is too high, and that it's important to slow the spread of this virus to keep people out of the hospital because of COVID-19. However, it got worse the next day. On October 6th, hospitalizations due to the virus were at an all-time high, with 529 of them statewide. The governor has also updated the directive regarding long-term facilities in COVID-19. The new directive allows visitations to patients with the virus, but only under very certain circumstances. The regulations may still be seen as strict, but safety is more important than convenience, especially during this pandemic. In other news, Governor Hutchinson has ordered for Arkansas and U.S. flags to be flown at half-staff, according to a press release from the 6th. This is in honor of Officer Kevin Collins from the Pine Bluff Police Department, who was shot and killed during a criminal investigation. In his statement regarding this matter, the governor said, "He selflessly put his life on the line each day in the Violent Crimes Unit and paid the ultimate price for the safety of honors. We are forever grateful for his service and the dedication of our entire law enforcement community. Always remember to stay safe and healthy." In Little Rock, Arkansas, Don Omar Cuevas, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you in the studio.
For tonight's business news, Eagle News correspondent Bobby Soriano reports.
U.S. markets have closed for today. Here were some of the business headlines moving them. The Space Defense Agency announced on Monday that Elon Musk's SpaceX was awarded a $149 million contract by the Pentagon on Monday. The contract is part of a broader program by the Pentagon to develop a new missile tracking satellite system, as Russia and China have been making efforts to develop new nimble weaponry. The contract further legitimizes Musk's SpaceX as a provider of commercial products to the U.S. Department of Defense, which has typically relied on the likes of Boeing and Lockheed Martin in the past. Big tech is enjoying a monopoly right now. That is the conclusion of a 16-month investigation by a House Judiciary Subcommittee on the competitive practices of Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Google. The report urges Congress to develop new antitrust laws that have so far been deemed inadequate by the subcommittee in addressing practices by tech companies that prevent competitors from gaining a foothold in the market. 1 in 4 women in business are looking to downshift their careers or leave them entirely. That grim statistic comes out of the annual Women in the Workplace study performed by LeanIn.org and McKinsey & Company. The study this year focuses on the effects COVID has had on women in the workplace, and further concludes that mothers and minority women have experienced greater hardship than the general workforce. The study, which is available to the public at womenintheworkplace.com, provides recommendations to businesses that hope to address these concerns. U.S. major indices regained almost all of their losses from yesterday, after President Trump backtracked on halting stimulus talks until after the election. Reporting from New York, Bobby Soriano, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
It's been a very interesting and unprecedented NBA season. And as the LA Lakers and the Miami Heat continue in their final series, anything can still happen. But because of the series count right now, many are thinking the finals are about to wrap up and the new NBA champion is about to be crowned. Here's our ABC Sports correspondent, Zarita Sese, with the update.
When the NBA season was put on hold in March, no one knew what this season would look like, let alone if the 2019-2020 champion would be crowned. But with their 102-96 victory over the still hobbling Miami Heat, LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers are just one win away from the franchise's 18th Larry O'Brien trophy. Being up 3-1 in a best-of-7 series has not come without a fight for the Lakers. Miami was able to steal Tuesday's game on the back of Jimmy Butler, who had a triple-double, dropping 45 points and 13 assists, leading his team to a 115-104 victory over LA. Things looked even brighter for Miami coming into Game 4 as their all-star Bam Adebayo was added back to the lineup. Despite a solid performance from Adebayo, who had 15 points on 6 for 8 shooting, the duo of LeBron James and Anthony Davis proved to be too much as they combined for 50 points. Davis especially showed up for his team late in the fourth quarter when he drained a three-pointer with 39.5 seconds left, putting his team up 9, which was the dagger that Miami could not recover from. When LeBron was asked about the Lakers breaking away late in the fourth, he knew what the outcome would be.
You kind of know momentum plays, momentum shots, on the score, the time, what's going on, within the last few possessions. They were going back and forth, with us, and we were going back and forth with them. To be able to, get some stops and then make a timely shot up 6, kind of, if you make that shot, that 3 to put you up 9 at that point in time of the game, then you kind of, you want to get one more stop, obviously, but it's, you got the time on your side. And because it's a 3-possession game with 39 seconds, most veteran ball clubs will be able to survive that.
As for Miami, it's literally do or die in Game 5. If Miami is able to get back Goran Dragic, it eases the pressure that's on Jimmy Butler, who's expected to be the facilitator for his team, but also be the #1 option on offense. But when asked about how he's preparing his team, Miami's head coach, Eric Spoelstra, understands what motivates his team.
Our guys love competition and love the challenge. We're here for a purpose. We never expected this to be easy. We'll just rest and recover tomorrow. I think everybody could probably use that a little bit, recalibrate, get back to work on Thursday. I know our group is going to be ready.
All eyes will be on Game 5 to see if the Larry O'Brien Trophy has a new home in the Lakers organization, or if the Disney bubble will see another game. Reporting from Toronto, Canada, Zarita Sese, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
We continue to thank our healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers. We do appreciate your dedication. And as always, we give you a round of applause. We do appreciate you. This is Eagle News America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ace Ramirez. We live in interesting times.